Hey Celtics fans, we've got a ton to unpack today, and it all starts with Jaylen Brown. The big man has gone through a full practice session without any issues, and that alone is huge news for Boston heading into the season opener against the Philadelphia Sixers. Hamstring injuries are notoriously tricky. They can linger and flare up at the most inconvenient times, and for a player like Brown, who carries so much of the team's scoring and defensive responsibility, even the smallest setback could have ripple effects throughout the lineup. Now, the good news is he made it through practice without complaints, but there's still a hint of caution. Brown himself has been measured, saying he feels great but will take things one day at a time when it comes to his availability. It's not the confident, "I'm ready to go, let's roll" statement every Celtics fan dreams of hearing, but it's realistic and smart. Given his history, it's probably the right approach. Brown's hamstring issues aren't new. Going back to 2021, that injury caused him to miss significant stretches of the season. He missed an initial 8 games and then aggravated it, missing another 5. The Celtics can't afford to push him too hard too early, but at the same time, there's no denying how critical he is. Without Jaylen on the floor, Boston loses not only a 25-plus point scorer, but also arguably their best wing defender. His absence would force the team to recalibrate, leaving gaps that are difficult to fill, especially with Jason Tatum also sidelined at the start of the season. It's a delicate balance, protecting Brown while still hoping he can make an impact when it matters most. Beyond the individual concerns, the team has also been benefiting from some unexpected guidance. The former head coach of the New York Knicks, who led them through last season's playoff series against Boston, stopped by practice to offer insights. He broke down tendencies and shared strategies from that postseason series, giving the Celtics a unique perspective on their own strengths and weaknesses. Jaylen Brown had a lot to say about that visit. He emphasized how valuable it was to have someone who had previously exploited Boston's weaknesses now helping them prepare for the upcoming season. It's one thing to study film internally, but hearing firsthand about the decisions, reads, and adjustments that worked against them last year offers a deeper layer of understanding. Brown mentioned how the former Knicks coach went over specific situations, detailing what the team did when the ball was in his hands or Jason Tatum's, and it's that level of breakdown that can accelerate learning. It's about growth, about being humble enough to listen and adapt, and Boston's young star seemed to be taking that advice seriously. These are the kind of moments that don't always make the headlines, but can shape a season. Understanding tendencies, learning from previous losses, and applying those lessons in practice are the building blocks of a team looking to compete at the highest level. Even though the Knicks are under new leadership this year and might not run the same system, the insights offered are invaluable in helping the Celtics refine their own game, anticipate defensive strategies, and optimize decision-making under pressure. Shifting gears, there's also major news on the roster front. McCad is emerging as the presumptive starting center for the Celtics this season, a significant leap in responsibility for a player who has largely been a role player in previous campaigns. Joe Mazzulla, the head coach, has been clear in his praise and support for CAD, emphasizing that this is what the player has worked his entire life for, a chance to step into a starting role on a team with championship aspirations. CAD has yet to play extended minutes consistently in the NBA, with most of his professional career spent bouncing between the G League and limited rotations in Boston. Last season, he averaged around 13 minutes per game, so stepping into a role where he will be expected to log significant playing time each night is a massive adjustment. Yet CAD's mindset appears ready for the challenge. He has expressed excitement about starting, emphasizing that whether he begins the game or comes off the bench, his goal remains the same: impose his will and elevate his teammates' performance. That experience has been honed further through his participation with Portugal in Eurobasket, where he logged extensive minutes and faced a mix of NBA-caliber talent. It's a step that has undoubtedly accelerated his development, giving him a taste of leadership responsibilities and the ability to read and react to high-level competition. Watching his performances in group play, CAD showed flashes of versatility, scoring efficiently around the rim, defending effectively, and even extending his range at times. This growth is critical for Boston, especially considering the current state of their frontcourt. With key players like Al Horford, Luke Cornett, and Chris Porzingis no longer part of the rotation, KAT is stepping into a role where production is no longer optional. It is required. The Celtics need him to protect the paint, contribute offensively, and maintain spacing for shooters on the perimeter. It's a tall order for someone who is still relatively untested at this level, but the potential upside is enormous. If KAT can manage his minutes, avoid foul trouble, and refine his decision-making, particularly in kick-out situations after securing the ball inside, he could quickly become one of the most improved players in the league. This is the kind of growth that can redefine a season, especially for a team like Boston, where small margins make the difference in the Eastern Conference. Another critical aspect of KAT's development revolves around his basketball IQ and awareness. In the past, there have been moments where he appeared unsure of positioning, particularly in fast-paced or spread offenses. For a Celtics team that relies on floor spacing to maximize three-point opportunities, KAT's ability to read the defense and move intelligently is crucial. Simple adjustments, like knowing when to kick out to an open shooter or maintaining proper spacing, could dramatically increase the team's offensive efficiency. Hands, control, and precision will be key. Turnovers caused by rush decisions or poor ball handling must be minimized. These are fundamental skills that, once polished, will allow KAT to thrive in the system Mazzulla is building. His potential as a breakout player hinges not just on raw talent, but on these nuances, and if he can marry physical ability with mental sharpness, he could be a transformative piece for Boston this season. Combine that with his expanding offensive repertoire, mid-range shots, occasional threes, efficient finishes around the rim, and the possibilities become even more compelling. For Celtics fans, watching KAT develop from a rotational player into a reliable starting center could be one of the most exciting storylines of the year. It's not just about filling minutes. It's about stepping up to the level demanded by a contender in the Eastern Conference. Meanwhile, Brown's status remains a central point of discussion. Even if he isn't fully ready for the opener, the Celtics have to plan for the scenario and ensure that when he returns, he can be maximally effective. His presence on the floor affects every aspect of the team's identity, from defensive rotations to scoring balance. Losing him, even temporarily, creates a vacuum that tests the depth and adaptability of the roster. Coaches and players alike are aware of this, which is why careful management and incremental reintegration makes sense. It's a reminder of how crucial star players are in the modern NBA, where a single absence can ripple through every facet of a team's performance. The balancing act of protecting an elite player's health while keeping the team competitive is never easy, and Boston seems intent on handling it with caution and foresight. Now, while Jaylen Brown and Nemekad are commanding most of the attention, there's more happening on the Celtics roster that deserves a deep dive. The front court situation is particularly intriguing. Boston has some talented pieces, but the combination of experience and readiness at the center and forward spots will define how competitive this team can be early in the season. With Al Horford and Luke Kornet gone, the Celtics are relying heavily on KAT, but also on players like Xavier Tillman and Chris Boucher to fill the gaps when necessary. Both bring unique skill sets, but neither offers the same level of consistency or proven impact as a fully healthy Brown or KAT at his best. That's where the coaching staff strategy becomes so important. Joe Mazzulla has a challenge in front of him, maximizing the minutes and contributions of a front court that is still finding its rhythm. It's about knowing when to push, when to protect, and how to structure rotations so that the team remains competitive without overextending key players. Floor spacing, defensive matchups, and transition opportunities are all impacted by the choices made with these minutes. And the Celtics' success will depend on executing this balance effectively. Another layer to this story is the way the Celtics are leveraging lessons from past matchups. Having former opponents visit practice to break down tendencies is an unusual but potentially transformative approach. The insight from a former Knicks coach is a perfect example of turning previous challenges into learning opportunities. He was able to highlight how defensive schemes and offensive reads affected Brown, Tatum, and other key players during the postseason. That kind of perspective allows the team to refine their decision-making in ways film study alone might not achieve. It's about internalizing what worked against them and figuring out how to anticipate and counter similar strategies from future opponents. While the Knicks have a new system and new leadership, the foundational understanding of player tendencies, how they handle ball pressure, spacing, and defensive rotations, provides actionable intelligence. For a team looking to contend in the Eastern Conference, every little edge counts. Boston's willingness to absorb lessons from former foes demonstrates both humility and strategic awareness, qualities that often distinguish good teams from great ones. Meanwhile, the dynamic between Brown and the rest of the roster will continue to evolve as the season begins. When healthy, he isn't just a scorer. He's a defender capable of locking down some of the league's best wings. That dual impact is invaluable, especially in a conference stacked with elite perimeter talent. His ability to switch, recover, and contest shots without fouling excessively allows Boston to be aggressive with smaller lineups while still maintaining defensive integrity. And even when he's not at 100%, his presence on the floor dictates attention from opposing defenses, creating opportunities for his teammates to exploit. This level of influence makes Brown more than just a player. He's a cornerstone around which much of the team's identity is built. Coaches must carefully monitor minutes, practice intensity, and recovery to ensure he is available when it matters most. And so far, early reports suggest they are managing this responsibly. At the same time, KAD's emergence creates new possibilities. If he can translate his international experience into consistent NBA-level production, the Celtics suddenly have a front court that can not only protect the rim, but also contribute offensively in ways they have lacked in previous seasons. His ability to finish around the basket efficiently, coupled with occasional mid-range and perimeter shots, opens up offensive spacing that benefits shooters like Derek White, Anthony Simons, and even role players who thrive when defenses are stretched. It's not just about scoring. It's about creating movement, providing reliable kickouts, and understanding floor spacing on every possession. This cerebral approach to the game, combined with raw athleticism, gives KAD the potential to become a legitimate X factor. If he can limit turnovers, stay out of foul trouble, and consistently make smart plays within the team system, he could very well change the trajectory of Boston's season. The development curve for a player like KAD is steep, but the potential payoff is enormous. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers around the league have become impossible to ignore. Jimmy Butler, the perennial all-star and one of the most versatile scorers in the NBA, is reportedly set to join the Boston Celtics. Sources close to the organization hint that the move could be finalized any day now, sending shockwaves through the Eastern Conference. While nothing has been officially confirmed, insiders suggest that Butler's arrival could immediately transform the Celtics' offensive profile, giving them a much-needed scoring edge and leadership presence. If the deal goes through, Boston would be adding a player renowned not just for his offensive firepower, but for his relentless competitiveness. Butler has a reputation for taking over critical moments in playoff games, and the Celtics, who have flirted with greatness in recent seasons without quite capturing the crown, may finally have the missing piece. Rumors suggest that the front office is positioning him as the centerpiece for a revamped attack, pairing him with the team's existing stars in a dynamic configuration that could make Boston's offense one of the most feared in the league. Social media has already exploded with speculation, as fans and analysts dissect potential lineups and rotations. Could Butler coexist with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown seamlessly, or will there be early growing pains? The chatter is electric. Early projections indicate that Butler's presence could immediately relieve pressure on the Celtics' perimeter shooters, allowing them more space to operate while Jimmy orchestrates key plays or slashes to the rim. Those close to the locker room describe him as a relentless competitor whose work ethic rubs off on teammates, hinting at a cultural shift as much as a tactical one. Of course, questions linger. How will Butler adjust to the storied Boston spotlight? Can the Celtics system fully harness his multifaceted skill set without sacrificing cohesion? Even as these discussions swirl, one thing is clear. If the rumor is true, Boston may be entering a new era, one in which playoff aspirations are no longer a hope, but a palpable expectation. For now, the basketball world watches with bated breath, eagerly awaiting confirmation, and imagining a Celtics offense ignited by the intensity and scoring prowess of Jimmy Butler. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.